Hello everyone, this is Dion Sol. I hope everyone is doing well. And today I am looking at the Aero Commander 690B by Carenado. And what we're doing today is we're going to take a flight between Desert Center, where we're currently at, to the unknown. And the reason why I'm saying to the unknown is because there is a utility that I acquired called Mission Generator. And the advantage of Mission Generator is for those of the flight simulation enthusiasts. Let me say that 5 times fast. That want purpose for their flights to fly from point A to point B. And not only does it gives you the purpose, it'll automatically generate a mission, i.e. job, between point A and point B. It'll also, you get experience points earned, and I'll go through that here once we jump into the sim and jump into the actual plugin itself. And it is a plugin that goes into your resources folder in X-Plane, and it does its magic there. And so right now we are currently rocking the version 1.1, and it was August the 5th, which is today. That is the today it was a new patch, a new update. And so it's really not a bad little program. If you actually click on over here, you'll see that he's got a website right here. And if you go on over the website, it tells you about it and what it does and all that sort of thing, and pictures and everything. Kind of nice if we wish. I'm more of a demo guy. I just wish that developers would actually create some kind of limited time or limited, some kind of limitation, but still have a demo so then you can see if you like it or not. But ain't no chance in hell that's ever going to happen. But you never know. But like I say, so we are sitting in Desert Center, and here's Desert Center, what it looks like in the real world with a photo, and which I thought was kind of cool. So, but here we are, and we are actually really in the middle of nowhere. And you can see a big old solar farm way over there. And where we're actually in between is there's Palm Springs right there, Salton Sea, and then Blythe, California right here, which is the Colorado River. So that's where we are. We are between, as I always say, we are between, anybody asks me, we're between lost and found. We are in the middle of nowhere. So anyway, so let me go ahead and get this set up here and get ourselves back to where we are, and there we are. So we're actually, our airplane is sitting kind of right where my arrow is, right there. And we'll jump in here to the sim real quick, and then we'll get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that. And so now we're going to go ahead and walk on in, and because we can't do a walk around, we'll go ahead and just get rid of the static elements that way, and we'll go ahead and turn on the external power. So then when we walk in here, we'll already have the GPU connected. And we'll go ahead here and click on and open the door. And let's go ahead and go on inside. And here we are, sitting inside the cockpit of the 690B Aero Commander. And we'll go ahead and turn all the artifacts on here. Close the door. And no smoking sign. We'll throw on some lights because we are running the GPU, the ground power unit. And we'll go ahead and turn all that on. Now I'm not going to turn on the engines just yet, so we'll leave the anti-collision lights off for the moment. And we'll go ahead and turn on the avionics because I have to program or set up the GPS. And so, without further ado, let's go in here to the Mission Generator itself. Mission Generator itself, after you've got it installed, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get these menus, which is the list of where you can go, your pilot's profile, what your current status is, what level you are, where you spent your leveling points at to be able to open up things, to open up more opportunities to fly to. Regenerate missions. What I found with that so far with regenerating with missions is that it regenerates the what you are carrying and things like that. It doesn't actually regenerate locations for you to fly to. That seems to be static until you're actually out of the area, and if you fly back to the area, then, or if you log out of X-Plane and you reload into X-Plane, then the missions will change. I think that's how it is. I usually go to one spot, and then once I get there, then I pick up another job somewhere else and fly from that point to the next destination. So but that's what I've seen so far. So far it hasn't changed the locations. It just changes what contents that you're actually running, either be passengers, cargo, and what the text is on why you are doing XYZ. Rebuild database, it basically just tells mission generator that, hey, it's going to pool all the airports that you have in your simulation, so it knows what airports to fly to. The preferences folder is basically what is just set some settings, like imperial settings. I've got imperial settings, in other words, pounds, miles, that sort of thing. I've got that selected because I'm an imperialistic bastard who is an American who's got to have my feet in inches and pounds and everything else. So that's there. Autopilot disabled. I have autopilot disabled because I like autopilot. If I have an airplane that has autopilot, I'm going to fly it. So at least the developer in his wisdom at least put this option in there to disable it. So then when you go fly a flight, you do not get penalized for using the tools that you have at your disposal. If you want to go hardcore, then you can fly a flight just by pointing your airplane in the direction and then just fly it and that sort of thing. But if you're going with a long flight, you're going to say F this pretty quickly. So that's why I have it off. Time compression. Time compression is for those guys that don't have a lot of time and they just want to get to point A, point B really, really fast. Then that's what they use a time compression for, and you have a penalty associated with that because now you're going outside the realm of realism. But I fly everything 1-to-1 ratio. Whatever time it is in the real world, that's what time it is in the sim. Whatever the weather is in the real world, that's what it is in the sim. And this and that and the other. So that's why I leave it enabled, because I don't really care, because I'm flying in real time. The debriefing thing, it has a pop-up window that pops up and then says, well, this is what you've done, this is what you've earned, yada yada yada. You can have two options: either when you are parked, so there's when you hit the emergency or hit the brakes to lock the emergency brake, then the debriefing will pop up, or it'll debrief you while you're taxiing after you get off the runway. I personally like once you get parked, and then I don't want that window in my way as I'm taxiing trying to get to my parking. So I like it, with it being in parking mode. So there's an options there for you. Now, this is what we got to work with here, and you can see how the texture quality and the text is, and the way it is right now. For most people, they're probably going to say, well, that's fine. What's the problem? The problem is when you get old eyes such as me, you have to make these things bigger. So you have a little tab down here that you can make it bigger. So for tired old eyes such as myself, to make things bigger. Now, in order for you to be able to do that, you have to go into the text file that this is associated with. And what I will do is I will stall here real fast, and I'll bring up my Notepad++, and I'm going to go over to the file that has this information. So at least I'll give you a quick rundown in how to do that. And let me look right here, make sure I'm at the right file. So okay, here we are. So let me jump over here into the other spot here. And over here, over here you can see this window. This is the file is called main EULA, and I'm using Notepad++. That's what I use for a text editor. It seems to be basically, at least in the people that are in the know, the people use Notepad++ all the time, and it works pretty well. But anyway, you can see right here by default, you'll see this right here. It says not resizing false. Usually that is set to true, and resizing proportional. is set to false. So you just turn those opposite of each other out of the default, which, this one is normally true, so you set it to false. This one's normally false, you set it to true. And then once you do that, you get what I showed you a minute ago, these menus to be able to resize them. I wish this was a switch like the other preferences where you don't have to go into this file and modify it. But for now, that's what you have to do. And so Notepad++, and like I say, you just go into the, let me go into the directory structure. So here's the mission generator that you've already put into your plugins menu as an example. You double click on it, go to data, go to modules, and then go to main. And once you load that up, then once you load it up, it brings you to this, and you just change those two variables here at default debriefing window, and then here at mission list window, and then one more time down here it says create a toggle pilot's profile window that you can your profile window can make bigger. So those are the three windows that are available to us, and that you can change by true to false and then false to true in these two settings right here to make it so you can resize to resize this and make this so you can make it where you can actually read it. So, and then this window right here, I did I did set this up, but for some reason it's not resizing. So this one right here for some reason is not resizing. So hopefully the developer sees this video and will explain why to me, at least in either via Explain forums, why you don't have the thing here to make this bigger, because I'd like for this to be a little bit bigger. But anyway, so this is the mission I've already chose I was going to take, which is to L88, and it basically says, your reputation precedes you today. We need you to discreetly transport 4 engineers to New Cuyama. I don't know, I can't pronounce that. And it says, on your way, fly over Victorville, and then we're going to we'll earn you some extra bonus pay. Now, the bonus pay is basically, in this thing, is extra experience points. There is no money transactions with this. That I'll tell you here in a few minutes to facilitate that. So that's where we're going. They're both asphalt runways, so we're good to go there. And I've been to L88 before, so I already know the surroundings. It's not a big deal. And we're carrying 503 pounds, and plus the pilot, of cargo. And it's going to be 2 hours. They say 2 hours and 37 minutes. Well, I am in a turboprop. The Aero Commander is a turboprop, and I'll be doing 270 knots indicated, and probably 270 knots ground speed, and probably about 212 indicated. So I will get there a lot faster than 2 hours and 37 minutes. So I think that's based on if you're in a Cessna 172 or something like that. And that's cool. That's fine. So anyway, so we're going to go ahead. Now, before I accept the mission, what I need to do is I need to go over here into weight and balance. I want to make sure weight and balance on everything is set to 0. And why that is important is because when I apply it, now you saw the airplane jump like that. Now if I go back in here, you'll see that the weight has been put in. Now what it did is it took that 503 plus 74 or 75 pound or whatever, 185 pounds or whatever for a pilot. So now we're at 664, and that number is going to become important here in a minute. Now, as far as fuel is concerned, they're saying it's going to take 2 hours to get there. I'm going to I always put in 2 hours of fuel anyway, even though I'm not going to take that much, but I always put in 2 hours of fuel because that way I at least have enough fuel to be able to get around. Or I won't even do it like this. I'll just leave this alone, and I will just let that go, and I'll add my immersion factor up a little bit by using my handy dandy calculator here. And I already know that jet fuel A is right around 6 pounds per. Well, actually, before I say that, let me close all this out. So we already know where we're going, how we're going to go, and you can see all these other places I could have went, but I already knew I wanted to go there, so we're good to go. And you can see a pop-up over here. Well, what my Now, let me put this out of the way. Let me put this right about here, myself right here, or I can just turn myself off. Oh no, now you don't see my ugly mug anymore. But anyway, you'll see that, that this little window popped up right here that says I'm 100 miles away at course 296 for Victorville. And so what it is, because that's an extra bonus thing, it pops up that little window up there in X-Plane that for you to work your way to get to that so you can get your bonus. This particular flight has no time limit, so we don't have to worry about time limits or anything. So it's you get there when you get there, which is good. So it's more of a cruise enjoyable flight as opposed to being you got to get here at a certain time. So, and that was my Alex Jones. You got to get here at a certain time. That's my Alex Jones voice right there. So anyway. So now what we're going to do is we know six gallons per hour. I want to put 100 gallons in here. So actually 100 gallons times 6 obviously is 600 gallons or 600 pounds of fuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. In other words, 6 pounds per 1 gallon of jet fuel is what I was trying to say. So we're going to go over here to another utility that's a free one. To add my immersion factor, it says request fuel. And I'm going to say I want 650 gallons because I want just a little bit more, or 650 pounds of fuel. And there he is. He just showed up there. And then I'm going to hit add fuel.
502 DM starting refuel.
So now he's adding fuel. And we're going to see if my calculation is good enough for this flight. Matter of fact, why that's doing that, I can go over here and it says I'm going to take actually
and 502 DM refueling complete.
So now I'm done here. Yeah, according to Little Nav, which is another utility that's a free utility for actually creating a flight plan, it says that it says right here it's actually going to take us right around 52 minutes to an hour. It's 236 miles because of the detour that I put in. That waypoint number 1 right here is the detour going to Victorville by a little bit. So hey, we should be good to go there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the sim. We're going to go over here to the fuel, and then we're going to look and see if we didn't overfuel. See, we put in 650, so we got 1 hour and 15 minutes of fuel. So, and it's going to be an hour, so it's only 15 minutes. I'm going to stretch it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go 750. So there you go. I cheated a little bit there. There you go. Now we're happy. So we'll go ahead and close that out. I should have put 750 in. So at any rate, that takes care of that. And then as far as actually seeing the flight plan itself for you guys, we'll go ahead and jump back over into here. And then we'll go ahead and go like this. And this is our overall flight plan by Little Nav. The Little Nav is going to take us right here. We're going to cruise right along. This is all Class G airspace until we get to Victorville. And you can see Victorville. If I had X-Plane is working on they are very aware that the ATC communications for X-Plane out of the box sucks, and they totally know it. And so they are one of their things that they're in development is to make the X-Plane ATC better. So if I was using ATC, I would have to because this is Class D airspace, I would have to key up on my radio and say November 502 Delta Mike is requesting transition through your airspace at heading 364 or whatever. And then they would grant me or they not grant me. If they wouldn't grant me, then of course I would have to go down like this and go around it. But then that would screw me up on being able to get my bonus for flying over Victorville, California, because you can see Victorville. So we'll see the Highway 15 when we get there. Most of this flight is going to be boring. We will be passing over Big Bear Lake, so we will have the mountains right here. It's 7,000 feet, 8,000 feet-ish, and that sort of thing. But you can see right here as the details that we are for most of it, we're in Class G airspace, except for flying over Palmdale, Plant 42. And in actuality, that's 5,000 feet, so we're good there because we're going to be at 12,500 feet. So we're going to be over their airspace at above 5,000 feet. So we'll be on, normally we would be on LA Center, and if LA Center told us to go around them, then we'd have to comply. So don't have to worry about that too much. So we'll be at 12,500, and all their airspace to talk to the is now General Fox Field is at 18,000. So General Fox Field, we definitely have to give them a howdy, and that's fine. They would just say, okay, fine, Dion, do whatever you want to do. We don't care. We trust you. That kind of thing. And then we'll just take it right on over, and then we'll be following the Highway 166, which goes right along here, which I will talk more about as we go along, and into New Cuyama. And I can see that the weather, because the weather's popping up right here, it doesn't have the winds, but it did say the altimeter is 3005. Remarks 2, 10 statute miles. That's under the X-plane nearest METAR, which is KIZA. And then the nearest METAR for NOAA is going to be at 17 Zulu is 3003, 10 statute miles. And that would be a few minutes ago, so that's probably more accurate. The NOAA one's probably more accurate. But the X-plane one is going to be the one on the top. And the winds are at, I guess, at 175. Oh, that's the time. Sorry, that's the time. I actually see on that NOAA one, I'm not seeing the winds, or I'm missing it. I'm seeing the time, the Zulu time and everything, but I'm not seeing the winds. So the winds are not being reported, I guess. Well, anyway, going off on a tangent here. So let's get back to, dial it back down. Dial it back down. Get back to where we need to go. So anyways, let's go ahead and get set up here, and we'll get in the air and ready to go. So we got our fuel. We know where we're going. Let's go ahead and turn everything on we need to turn on here. Generators will turn on once we get on, and because we've already got the like I say again, we've got the GPU going, the ground power unit going. We'll just go ahead and just start the engine and let's go. And so we don't over temp the engines. That's off. That is HP test, and then there is normal. So we'll put that in right there, and we'll do the same thing over here. Right there. So that's set up, and then we'll go ahead and start engine number 2. We'll go ahead and, before we do that, let's extend the landing lights, get the landing lights extended over on the wings, and then we'll turn those on when we're actually ready to, right next to the runway. We'll go ahead and start that up. You can see the lights are extended right there next to the left there of the spinner, above those two cars. 80s vintage cars, I guess. Alright, so we got sound. We got... This airplane model really does have a good sound. I really like it. And I did not turn on my anti-collision lights because we need the beacons to be on. Beacons are on. Beacons are running. Alright. And we're going to do, go ahead and throw the generator on. Right generator. Now let's turn on the left engine. Take a swig of coffee for the working man. Yes, Jeremy, I copied you. I'm going to continue to copy you. And then we're going to turn on our generator there. And so the generator is ready to go. And we'll go ahead and put on our taxi lights. Taxi lights ready to go. And now, lastly, what we need to do is go in here. And we need to go ahead and clear the previous route. That was for another job. Clear that out. Go to flight plan. Go to menu. Go down here to delete flight plan. Delete. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and click on this. And right here, the very first one is the one we're going to take. And we're going to hit enter. Go back to flight plan. And it's already set up and ready for us. And so, and just to make sure that it understands that I'm going to go to this first waypoint, I'll tell it to go direct, activate. So now it understands we're going to go that way. We'll go ahead and put this to GPS. Now you'll see down here that this moved. See it moving. Now it's on GPS, so we're good to go there. Message says 2993. I need to reset my external settings here and actually move that to 2993. Oops, I went too far. 993 is right there, so we're good to go there. We can get rid of that. Now, the reason why Flight Jobs connector came up, well, actually, let me finish the airplane real fast. Sorry about that. Our altitude is going to be down here. As you can see, I'm going to be 12,500 feet, so we need to get this to 12,500 feet. Because we're going to be a VFR flight, which means we have to be on the 5, so it's going to be, you know, and we are going, I'll explain the other thing here in a second, but we're going to be at 12,500 feet. And for sake of argument, our new Cuyama, whatever, they're 2,300 feet, so we're going to make our cabin pressure 2,300 feet. Yes, so we'll make it 3,500 feet or ish or so, right there. So now we're 3,500 feet. For our cabin, we'll go ahead and turn on our cabin environmentals. So that's done out of the way. Only reason why I'm doing it now is so then that way I won't forget, because I will forget. And then our decision height is at 400 feet. That's when our call outs are going to say 400, 300, 200, 100, and so on. 50, 40, 30. Put your head between your legs. Fuel wise, I did not set that to 0, so now it's set at 0, so we kind of lost a little fuel there. Alright, so everything else is not relevant at this point. Our only thing that is relevant is what our altimeter is for the airport that we're currently at right now. And our altimeter for the current, instead of just tuning it in, I'm just going to put it in, which is 3005 is our altimeter setting. Now I did that with my SciTech equipment, or I could go over here and use my mouse wheel and put it in right there just like that. Okay, so now the airplane is set and ready to go. There's nothing stopping me from going right now other than the fact that we are moving, because we don't need to be moving right now. Let me put that brake back on. Now what we need to do is we need to go back over here, and we need to go back to Flight Jobs. For the reason why that pop-up is right there, because Flight Jobs, we're going to try to make this a Flight Jobs flight, and we are currently at CN 64. Is that what it was? Crap, I forgot. Let me look real quick. Yeah, CN 64. So I was right. To L88. So then we go back over here to Flight Jobs, CN 64 to L88, and let's see if Flight Jobs will accept it. It doesn't like that because it needs to have a K in front of it. See if Flight Jobs will accept it. Flight Jobs did accept it and did recognize these two airports. Now Flight Jobs wants an alternate, so we'll say Santa Maria is fine. Taft is actually, Taft was actually closer. Yeah, Taft is closer. I wonder why it didn't do Taft, but okay. Pooh, messed it up. There it is. Okay. There's Taft. And then we'll go over here to General Aviation, and our poundage, pound me too, was 664. So 664. And that's set at kilograms. Okay, I gotta fix that. I gotta go over with Flight Jobs. It defaults to kilograms. I gotta go to pounds because I'm an American. We like our pounds. Now I gotta redo the flight over again, but that's okay. So that was CN 64 to KL 88, and then Taft again, and then right here, back over here, and then it was crap. I forgot. It was 784, wasn't it? It was 668, sorry. 668. So, 668. There we go. So there's our poundage. And then we'll click on anything that it has to see. The advantage of Flight Jobs, I can say, well, is that passengers or is that cargo? In this case, it's going to be cargo because they wanted me to take the barrels of fuel, I believe is what the text was. So we're just going to do cargo only. So we're going to make a whopping $282 on this, but that's my money. The corporation is actually going to make a 35% markup on top of that, which is absolutely fine. I have no problem with the corporation making money because I am the corporation. It's my corporation. So either way, I win. I get money for myself and I get money for the company. So it's all good. All right. So that takes care of that. So we are good to go there. So flight jobs is good. So now we go in here and we click on the flight jobs, and if everything is good, I should click on this and it should start the flight. And it did. It started the flight. So, all right. So let's GTFO. It's time for us to go. Time is a burning here. In actuality, I need to this thing is moving right now, and it shouldn't be moving because the actual props are currently locked. On a turboprop such as this particular model and the MU2, I think you got to hit the reversers, and what that does is that unlocks the props from the spindle or whatever, and then I can actually taxi now. And now I forgot to go from external power to in-ship power. No, shore power to ship power, but it did it for me, so we're good. So now we'll taxi here in the middle of nowhere. November 502 Delta Mike is taxiing to runway. You know what? Looks like it's going to be runway something that's associated with, because our winds are at 332 at 7 knots. So I think we're going to be taking off at this runway, runway 23, I think. We'll see here in a second. We're actually going kind of fast. We're doing 26 knots right now, which we're kind of cheating here. What's the stock say? Okay, the stock says we're actually... Yeah, that wind is actually blowing. So we just take off right here. So what is our... 3.5? Is that what that said? I think that said 3.5? Or 5? Runway 5, I guess. So we're going to take off right here. According to that sock. So, we're going to have a little bit of crosswind. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go for it. November 502 Delta Mike is on runway 5 for straight out departure. Flaps 1. Set my pitch trim to where I want it. We don't have a pitch trim setter, do we? Where's my, I don't see pitch trim here somewhere. It's here, I just don't see it at the moment, and I don't really need it anyway. Alright. Oh, we gotta put our landing lights on before we forget. Landing lights go on. Strobes go on. No, we don't want that. We don't need that. I went a quick scan here, make sure everything looks good, and let's hit it. Punch it, Chewy. And because I put the limiter on those, it should chill out. I am having some right deflection right now. That's why I can see how I'm all over the place. The airplane is trying to weather vane to the direction of the wind. Gear up. Props up, or the flaps up, and now you're going to see the nose of the airplane start to sink here in a minute. Okay, make me a liar. Fine, whatever. Okay, so now we're going to turn on our navigation. Now we're on autopilot. We're going to be at 145 knot climb. I got the indicated airspeed set to 145 knots, which this airplane, I do not see any heading or indicator bugs. in here, but if you had an indicator bug, it would be at 145. So I'm doing it out with my Cytec stuff outside the sim is doing it for me. And you can see we are climbing. Jump on there, and I'm going to say bye-bye to Desert Center here. Take a peek outside. And hopefully that's not too loud. Let me turn down that audio. Get that thing right down to about 35%, and then turn me down to where I'm not so booming. Hopefully I wasn't overmodulated this whole time. And there is Desert Center. As we are climbing. We're climbing at 3,700 feet per minute. Everything looks good. We can go ahead and turn off all of our lights that we don't need. And we can go ahead and do prop sync. Prop sync has been initiated. Make sure our cowling flaps are open, because for some reason, even though this is a turboprop and they don't have cowling flaps, for some reason the modeled cowling flaps, so I have to have it configured so it stays cool. If not, you'll see that this thing will be staying in the red all the time. And we are wide open right now. Our pressurization is working as intended, so we are not going to have hypoxia, so we're fine there. And we're still trying. The only thing I did not do is I didn't tell us to 1200 to let ping the see, I think it's 3320 is 3320 is LA Center. So if I go over here and click on this to LA Center 3320, it's gonna
November,
tell me
02 Delta Mike Kilo Bravo Lima Hotel altimeter 2989er.
Kilo Bravo Lima Hotel altimeter 2989er. November 502 Delta Mike.
All right. And again, putting the flight plan into the X-Plane ATC right now is not worth it at all. I mean, it's really bad. So I just don't even mess with it. Don't even mess with it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm getting an indicator telling me that I don't have my pitot heats turned on, so we'll take care of that right now. Now my pitots are now turned on. And the pitot heat, for those of you that don't know, is right, if you look right there, that right there in the middle of the screen is the pitot. That's where for those of you that don't know, that is where my speed comes from. We have two, in this case on either side of the airplane. So that is how we are able to get our indicated airspeed. So if those get gummed up or frozen over, then you're going to have problems. All right, we are at cruising altitude, so I'm dialing back my my throttle down to, or my thrust levers, not say throttle. We are in a turboprop airplane, so it's thrust levers down to 50 gallons per hour on each tank. And I'm going to bring my props down to 99%. And there is 99%. You can hear the change in the RPM sound just a little bit. So we, ladies and gentlemen, are on our way. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make sure we're static here, and so when I come back, you'll see this changed. The target to Victorville, you're going to see that change. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this portion of the video up, and I'll just do an audio montage or whatever, and so I get the the fun, if you want to call it that, of actually doing the flight in real time. But for you as a viewer, I'm going to speed it up, so then that way you guys don't have to go through the pain and suffering in real time of the flight. So I will be back, and then I will we'll hook back up, and then we'll go through the process of descending and landing. So I'll be back. Alrighty everyone, we are currently in the clouds, and we're at 6,000 feet, and we are going to make it. As you can see, we made it to the target destination, no problemo. So we are good to go there. All we got to do now is just land this bird. That's what I'm doing. We're trying to get set up right now to make sure we have enough. Gotta slow this thing down too. Probably gonna have to circle around the airport. Yeah, so we are coming around here. I think that is Highway 166 right there. Coming around, and then made that road plenty of times, going back and forth between my home base and Palmdale, Lancaster area out to Santa Maria area. We're not going to go out to Santa Maria, but we will be en route anyway. You can see we're climbing through the clouds here. lose a lot of speed. Didn't really want to run into those power lines. That would be a bad thing. And there's the airport right there. So what we're going to do is we are going to parallel the runway a little bit. Fly over Highway 166. Hoping I'd see a there is no, it's not a control tower, so I was looking for a. What we're gonna do is we're gonna, okay, it's 180, so that'd be 180, and that'd be 100. So I need to switch and spin around all the way to heading 100. Well, I could cheat here just so I could speed up the process. Let's go to tower. And I can sit here and look and see where the, I can fly in a, and of course I can't. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we need to be landing at runway 28. Okay. Alrighty, so now let's try this again. As we are working our way around. I'll just do my VFR and just come over here to this point. Yeah, see, I need to go further than that, I think. Maybe not. Spin it on around. Let myself fall. I'll let myself fall again. Then I'll orientate myself. Because now I've overshot the airport, so now I got to get it back. Wow, I really did overshoot the airport big time. But I'm only down to 3 gallons of fuel, so guess what? We're gonna land this thing.
Minimums.
Come on, land, 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 land. How's that? It was hard landing. Yeah, it probably was. But I had to get this thing on the ground. I had to get this thing on the ground. There's the barrels I got to deliver. They're going to add more barrels to it, I guess. Brakes on. We have made it. And there is the pop-up window that you get. Let me flip over here to external power, and then we'll turn everything off. Turn everything up. We have made it here. Anyway, this is the menu you get. You can next, because I did the resizing thing, you can make it bigger so you can actually see it. And then over here is, that's what you get. And then let me go over here to the mission window. That's our next set of missions. I'll have to pick one, and we'll have to do that. I'll be another time. And then my profile. So I'll close this out. This is what we got. So we gained from that point to right there. So we're not quite level 5, and you can see over here. So that wasn't a bad flight. That was a high. I'm always picking the highest distance, because just like in flight jobs, the farther you go and the more time you're in the air, the more XP you earn. It's see it kind of in the same thing. So we are getting closer and closer to the next level. And when you start getting, after you get to level 5, then you can start putting points into your autopilot stuff if you were doing hardcore up to this point, which, like I said before at the start, I didn't. Right now I've got points where I can go to the next level here. This is right here. Every level increases XP for flights with big multi-engines. And then right here is every flight takes long flights 2 hours or greater than 2 hours. 50% more frequency, and give you 10% more XP. See, that's why I'm populating these out, this out, and medium flights out first. So then that way I can get this more, this flight or mission generator more in line what you're going to expect with flight jobs. So that's why I'm attacking these 3 first, getting those up there so I can get the frequency flights more. And then I'll add special missions, which I don't know what that's going to be entail, but we'll find out once he sets that up. And that, because I don't fly helicopters, I have no intention of creating helicopter flights. That's not me. That's not my thing. But float planes is good. Island hopping is good. That stuff like that. So, but anyway, so that's that. So now we're going to go over here to flight jobs here. Refresh. Make sure this thing says that we are in where we're supposed to be. Then hit finish, and it was successful. So then I am going to bring up flight jobs. Over here, there is my thing, my original flight. Refresh, it's now gone. Go over here to profile, and then you see right there, I think that is my job. And my job, there's my personal, so there it is. It was in the air for, I was on the air for 1 hour and 22 minutes. Carried 694 pounds of cargo, and made a little bit of scratch. Only made $859 on this, but what do you expect? I mean, it was only, I think I only made on that one. I think it's right here, isn't it? I made $202 on this one, $282 on this one. So anyway, it just adds a little bit to the bucket. So every little bit helps. And yeah, we're so as far as Soul Swings goes, we're doing just fine. We're just kind of moving right along with the 3 people we got right now that are flying, which is Bug Eater 64, Mr. Mr. McBride and myself, B Carpenter and Highlight. I haven't seen them in my Discord yet, so I haven't seen them do any flights. And unfortunately, the flights here don't tell me. Um, in the ledger here, it doesn't tell me who's flying what. So, I don't know, because if I knew, then I can make more managerial decisions on if I have people that are just here trolling me, or if they're, or otherwise, that kind of thing. But who knows? But anyway, so like I say, we're progressing right along. We're moving along on our FBOs right now. That's our incentive with flight jobs, is just to you just keep on, making the money and then buying hubs everywhere, and that's what you do right now until he adds more content to flight jobs, or he meaning Rudolph. Rudolph moves, adds more content to that, which would be good. So that's why I'm trying to say that this um, mission generator is a good thing, is that to complement flight jobs. Anyway, guys, so that's pretty much the size of mission generator. It does generate the missions, it does do it, and it does add more as you go up on the levels. Like I said, like we said a few minutes ago, and so just keep on going up and up, and then the more and more these will populate out of more things to do and more places to go, and that sort of thing. This one's urgent. What's this one want? The cargo, 18 doctors, needs to be delivered by your plane to Air Force Base, I think, KNSI, soon as possible. See, this is when you have an urgent, that tells me I got to get there in less than an hour, and it says an hour and a half is how long it's going to take me to get there. So obviously that job is not going to work, so I wouldn't even bother taking that job. If I was already in a fast plane and that came up like in a jet, and then that would be different. But because I'm in the airplane I'm at, I'm not going to make it there in that time. Realistically, in Sweetwater, what Sweetwater do for me? The dirt strip, which is kind of suspicious right there. And what do they want? They want your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to fly 21 doctors to Sweetwater. As always, if you get captured or killed, we'll deny any knowledge that you. Mission Impossible thing is great in certain areas, but in certain things, it's kind of like okay, silly. But this one's not under the gun, so you got 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it's 3,000 pounds. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work or not. In the low, you get these low missions, whereas usually you have the low missions and you'd have the Mission Impossible theme. You got to fly 17 scientists to these guys, but you got to stay below 1,000 feet AGL, which it means above ground level. So above ground level and below 1,000 feet. So that would be kind of tough. Sure, it could be done, but that'd be kind of tough. And if it was flat land, it would be easy. But if it's real far away, then I don't know. But anyway, so I greatly appreciate you guys watching here. This is Mission Generator. It is cool. We'll give it more time. I'll populate it more up right here. It's only $15 at the xplane.org store. And for those of you who want to have a little bit more reason to fly, your flights between point A and point B, I think it's worth it. $15. I mean, that's a a grande over at Starbucks. So why not? So anyway, guys, you guys take care. And again, I definitely appreciate you guys watching this, and definitely like, subscribe, and all that sort of thing for the videos. It is most appreciated if you did. I trying to build the channel up a little bit and just kind of make it all happen, and it'd be greatly appreciated. And right here, you can see up here, I've got the donate buttons for the donates and that sort of thing. So I'm a whopping 150 subscribers, kicking butt. So And I got plenty of videos to watch, so I got plenty of entertainment for you to be bored out of your mind, or whatever the case may be, whatever you feel is your fancy. So anyway, you guys take care and you have yourselves a great one. This is Dion Soul. Talk to you guys soon. Laters. Thanks for watching. Bye.